I never thought my life would come to this. 27 years old, 3 jobs, hands so calloused I couldn't feel the wedding ring anymore. But that night, that horrible, beautiful night, everything changed when I found 12 words sewn into my husband's jacket. Let me take you back to the beginning of the end. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were my longest days. I'd wake up at 5 in the morning to clean office buildings downtown, then rush to my waitressing shift at the diner until $3 and finish the night stocking shelves at the convenience store until midnight. 18-hour days, every single day. When I finally dragged myself through the door of our tiny apartment that night, the first thing I noticed was the darkness. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that meant we had no electricity again. Jason was exactly where I'd left him that morning, on the couch, controller in hand, playing his video games on his phone since the TV was dead without power. He didn't even look up when I dropped the grocery bags on the counter. Discount bread, generic peanut butter, the kind of food that fills your stomach but not your soul. "Jason," I said, my voice already tired before the conversation even started. "They cut the power. Did you pay the electric bill?" He paused his game, slowly turned his head toward me with this look I'd seen 1,000 times before, disappointment mixed with accusation. "With what money, Lily?" His voice was flat, cold. "You barely bring home enough to cover rent. Maybe if you'd taken that extra shift on Sunday instead of needing rest, we wouldn't be in this situation." My hands were shaking, from exhaustion, from anger, from something I couldn't quite name yet. "I worked 93 hours last week, Jason, 93, while you sat here looking for jobs that apparently don't exist." He stood up then, and for a moment, I thought he might actually do something, help, apologize, anything. Instead, he walked past me to the bedroom. "I'm going to sleep. Some of us are dealing with depression, Lily. Not that you'd understand." The bedroom door closed. I stood there in the dark, holding a loaf of bread that cost $1.49 bars, wanting to scream, wanting to cry. But I was too tired for either. That's when I saw it. His jacket. The one he called his lucky jacket, from his college days. It was thrown over the kitchen chair, and there was a tear in the sleeve, a bad one. I picked it up, thinking I'd mend it before bed, because that's what I did. I took care of everything. I fixed everything, even when I was falling apart myself. I grabbed my sewing kit from the drawer. As I ran my fingers along the lining to assess the damage, I felt something strange, something hard, rectangular, sewn into the inner lining of the jacket. My heart started beating faster. I don't know why. Intuition? Maybe. I carefully cut the stitches, reached inside, and pulled out a piece of paper, folded small and tight. Protected. When I unfolded it, I saw 12 words written in Jason's handwriting. 12 random words that made no sense together. Orbit, blouse, canyon, vendor, frost, meadow, thunder, cloth, palm, window, genuine, acid. Below the words was a small note. "Seed, do not lose, cold wallet backup." My hands weren't shaking from exhaustion anymore. Seed phrase. I knew what that was. I'd heard about it on the news. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Those 12 words were a key to money. But Jason told me his startup failed 3 years ago. He told me we lost everything. He told me he was broken, depressed, unemployed, trying his best. Why would he have a cryptocurrency wallet hidden in his jacket? I kept searching the pockets. And that's when I found the second piece of paper. A receipt, printed on expensive cardstock with a gold logo. Cartier, 5th Avenue. Diamond necklace, platinum setting. Amount, $50,000. Date, yesterday. Yesterday. While I was scrubbing toilets at the office building, while I was serving coffee to people who looked through me like I was invisible, while I was counting pennies to buy bread, my husband bought a $50,000 necklace. The apartment was silent except for my breathing. Fast. Shallow. The kind of breathing that comes before a storm. I looked at the bedroom door. At the man behind it, who watched me destroy my body and soul every single day, the man who complained that I didn't work hard enough, the man who made me feel guilty for wanting 1 day off in 3 months. And I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. I was going to find out exactly what he was hiding. Because if Jason had money for a $50,000 necklace, if Jason had a cryptocurrency wallet hidden in his clothing, then Jason was about to learn what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. I grabbed my phone. Downloaded a cryptocurrency wallet app. My fingers trembled as I typed in those 12 words. Please enter seed phrase to restore wallet. Orbit, blouse, canyon, vendor, frost, meadow, thunder, cloth, palm, window, genuine, acid. I pressed enter. The screen loaded, and my entire world shattered and rebuilt itself in the same moment. Wallet balance, $10,450,000 buyer, $10,450,000. My husband, my broke, depressed, unemployed husband had $10 million while I sold my blood plasma for grocery money. I sat there in the dark, staring at that number, and I started to smile. Because Jason had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He forgot that I wasn't just a maid, a waitress, a shelf stalker. I was a woman with nothing left to lose. And now, I had everything to gain. Let me tell you how we got here. How a marriage becomes a lie so complete that you don't even recognize your own reflection anymore. 3 years ago, Jason came home with his face in his hands. We'd been married for 2 years at that point. Young love, they called it. I called it the happiest time of my life. He sat me down on our nice couch. In our nice apartment. The one with heating that worked and lights that stayed on. Lily, he said, and his voice cracked in all the right places. The startup failed. We lost everything. The investors pulled out. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I held him while he cried. I told him it would be okay. That we'd figure it out together. That money didn't matter as long as we had each other. God, I was such a fool. Within a month, we'd moved to this shoebox apartment in the worst part of town. Jason said we needed to cut expenses drastically until he could find new work. I agreed. I got my first job cleaning offices, then my second job at the diner. I told myself it was temporary. That was 3 years ago. 3 years of watching my husband sit on that couch. 3 years of him sending out resumes and networking and dealing with the trauma of failure. 3 years of me working myself to the bone while he complained that the apartment was messy, that I didn't cook enough, that I was always too tired to talk. But now, sitting in the dark with his hidden fortune glowing on my phone screen, every moment of the last 3 years replayed in my mind with crystal clarity. I remembered last Christmas. I'd saved for 3 months to buy him a new gaming controller. $80 that I scraped together from tips and overtime. When I gave it to him, he barely looked up from his phone. Thanks, he mumbled. Would have preferred the pro version, but whatever. He didn't get me anything. Said we couldn't afford it. I remembered the time I got pneumonia from working in the freezing office buildings all winter without a proper coat. I couldn't afford to miss work, so I showed up to my shifts with a fever of 103. Jason never visited me at any of my jobs, never brought me soup, never even asked if I was okay. When I finally collapsed at the diner and my manager drove me to the emergency room, I called Jason from the hospital. Can you come get me? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I don't have gas money, Lily. Just take the bus. It's only $1.50. I took the bus home with an IV bruise on my arm and a prescription I couldn't afford to fill. I remembered 2 months ago when I came home crying because a customer at the diner had thrown hot coffee at me for forgetting his extra cream. My shirt was stained, my chest was burned, and I just needed someone to hold me. Jason looked annoyed. Why are you always so dramatic? It's just coffee. People in real jobs deal with worse. Real jobs? As if destroying my body for 18 hours a day wasn't real. But the worst memory, the one that made my blood boil as I stared at that $10.4 million, was from 3 weeks ago. I came home to find Jason on his laptop. He slammed it shut the second I walked in, but not before I saw green lines on the screen. Charts, numbers. The kind of thing that looked like stock trading or cryptocurrency tracking. What were you looking at? I asked casually. His face went red. Actually read. Nothing. YouTube. A documentary about the stock market. I'm trying to learn about finance so I can get back into the business world. He was so sincere, so earnest. I believed him. That same week, I had to sell my grandmother's earrings. The only thing I had left from her. They were worth maybe $200 at the pawn shop. I needed the money for rent. When I told Jason, he nodded slowly. That's good, babe. We all have to make sacrifices. Sacrifices. He used that word. While sitting on $10 million. I stood up from the kitchen floor, my phone still showing his wallet balance. My whole body was shaking now, but not from exhaustion, from rage, from a clarity so sharp it could cut glass. I walked quietly to the bedroom door, pressed my ear against it. I could hear Jason snoring, peaceful, content, sleeping the sleep of someone without a care in the world. I went back to the kitchen and started going through everything. His other jacket, his backpack, the drawer where he kept his important papers. In the backpack, I found a second phone, a new iPhone, latest model, the kind that costs over $1,000. I turned it on. No passcode. Arrogant. Sloppy. The first thing I saw was a text conversation with someone named Amber, with a heart emoji. My hands were steady now, perfectly steady. I scrolled up to read from the beginning. Jason, can't wait to see you tomorrow, baby. Wear the dress I bought you. Amber, the red one? The Versace? God, you spoil me. When are you going to leave her? Jason, soon. Very soon. Just need to move some assets around first. Don't want her getting half of what's mine. Amber, you're so smart, babe. Not like her. I still can't believe she doesn't know you're rich. How stupid can one person be? Jason, she's not stupid. She's just simple. She thinks hard work equals virtue. She'll never understand money like we do. Amber, LOL. Imagine scrubbing toilets when your husband is a millionaire. I could never. Jason, that's why I love you. You get it. You get me. Just a few more weeks and we'll be in the Maldives. First class. The penthouse suite I showed you. Amber, I'm counting down the days, Daddy. Don't make me wait too long. I scrolled further. Photos. Her in designer clothes. Him at expensive restaurants. Wine that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. Hotel rooms that looked like palaces. All of it. All of it while I wore shoes with holes in them. While I ate ramen noodles for dinner. While I cried myself to sleep from exhaustion. There were bank statements on the phone, too. Screenshots he'd sent to Amber to prove his wealth. Cryptocurrency wallets. Multiple ones. The main one with 10.4 million, others with smaller amounts. 100,000 here, 50,000 there. There were investment portfolios, Tesla stock, Apple, Amazon, all bought in the last 3 years. The years he told me we were broke. There was a folder of receipts. The necklace for Amber. A car. A Porsche. Registered in a shell company's name. Vacations, hotels, Michelin star restaurants. I did the math in my head. Conservative estimate. He'd spent over $300,000 on his mistress in the last year alone. $300,000 while I donated plasma twice a week for $60 that kept us from being evicted. I kept scrolling. There was an email chain with a lawyer. Subject line, divorce strategy. I opened it. Jason, I need to make sure she gets nothing. What's the best way to hide assets in a divorce? Lawyer. Cryptocurrency is difficult to trace if properly managed. Keep everything in cold storage. Don't leave digital trails. If she doesn't know about it, she can't claim it in court. Make sure you document her spending, even if it's just groceries. We can argue financial irresponsibility. Jason. Perfect. She's so focused on working, she doesn't even look at our finances. This will be easy. Lawyer. When are you planning to file? Jason. A few more months. I want to time it right. Maybe I'll file right after she gets her tax refund. That way I can claim half of it before I leave. I closed my eyes, breathed in through my nose, out through my mouth. This wasn't just infidelity. This wasn't just hidden money. This was systematic, calculated, cruel. He didn't just lie to me. He orchestrated my suffering. He watched me break myself into pieces every single day, and he enjoyed it. He got off on it. The power, the control, the knowledge that he could end my pain with a single transfer, but chose not to. I looked around our apartment, at the furniture falling apart, at the walls that needed paint we couldn't afford, at the refrigerator that barely worked, at the life he forced me to live while he planned his escape to paradise with a woman who called me stupid. Something inside me crystallized in that moment. Something cold and hard and absolutely certain. I wasn't going to confront him. I wasn't going to scream or cry or beg for explanations. I was going to do something much worse. I was going to take everything. And I was going to make him watch. I opened my phone and created a new cryptocurrency wallet, a secure one, with a seed phrase I memorized and then destroyed. No paper trail, no evidence. Then I opened Jason's wallet again. That beautiful $10.4 million, just sitting there, waiting. My finger hovered over the send button. 3 years of my life, 3 years of pain, 3 years of being made to feel worthless. I pressed send. The transaction processed in seconds. Cryptocurrency is beautiful that way. Irreversible, instantaneous, final. I watched the money flow from his wallet to mine. All of it. Every single dollar. Well, not every dollar. I left him exactly $10. And in the memo field that gets recorded on the blockchain forever, I typed 2 words. Cleaning fee. His balance now read, €10. Mine read, $10,450,000. I took a screenshot, saved it in 3 different places. Then I transferred the money again to another wallet, and then another, bouncing it through different exchanges, different currencies, different blockchains, making it impossible to trace, just like his lawyer suggested. By the time I was done, it was 4 a.m. The money was safe. Hidden. Mine. I deleted the wallet app from my phone, cleared the history, made sure there was no evidence of what I'd just done. Then I went to the bedroom, looked at Jason sleeping peacefully in our bed, his face relaxed, probably dreaming of Amber, of the Maldives, of his brilliant plan. I smiled, actually smiled. "Sleep well, honey," I whispered. Tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day. I went to the couch, laid down with his lucky jacket as a blanket, and slept better than I had in 3 years. Because I finally understood something important. Revenge isn't about anger. It's not about screaming or violence or drama. Revenge is about precision, about patience, about watching someone realize that their entire world has collapsed, and they can't tell anyone why because admitting the loss means admitting the crime. Jason was about to learn that lesson, and I was going to enjoy every single second of teaching it to him. I woke up to the sound of Jason's alarm at 9 a.m. He always set it for 9, even though he had nowhere to be. Maintaining a routine is important for mental health, he'd told me once. I'd been up since 5 for years. I heard him shuffling around the bedroom, the shower turning on. He was singing, actually singing, some pop song about living your best life. I stayed on the couch, eyes closed, listening, planning. The shower turned off. I heard him getting dressed, humming now. He was in a good mood. Of course he was. Today was probably the day. The day he was going to move his money to an offshore account and disappear with Amber. He walked into the living room. I felt him standing over me. "Lily," he said, his voice dripping with fake concern. "Why are you sleeping on the couch? Are you okay?" I opened my eyes slowly, like I'd just woken up. "Your jacket had a tear. I was mending it and fell asleep." "Sorry." He grabbed the jacket from where I'd draped it over the chair. Checked it quickly. Looking for the hidden pocket, I realized, making sure his precious seed phrase was still there. I'd sewn it back perfectly, put everything exactly as I'd found it. He relaxed. "Oh, thanks. You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to," I said sweetly. "It's your lucky jacket. Can't have you walking around with torn clothes." He actually smiled at me, genuine, warm. The kind of smile that used to make my heart skip. Now it made my stomach turn. "You're too good to me, Lily. I don't deserve you." For the first time in 3 years, he was telling the truth. "I'm making coffee," he announced, walking to the kitchen. "Want some?" Jason never made coffee. Jason never made anything. Sure, I said, sitting up. That's nice of you. He was humming again as he filled the ancient coffee maker we'd had since the bankruptcy. I watched him move around the kitchen with an energy I hadn't seen in years. He was practically bouncing. This was it. Today was the day he was going to betray me completely, and he had no idea he was already destroyed. So, he said casually, pouring coffee into two mismatched mugs. I have a job interview today. Downtown, tech company. Could be big. Really? I made my voice excited, hopeful, the way a good, naive wife should sound. Jason, that's amazing. What time? 2:00. Might take a few hours. Don't worry if I'm home late. He wasn't going to any interview. He was going to meet Amber, probably to celebrate moving his money, to plan their escape. I'm so proud of you, I said, taking the coffee. I knew something would come through. You've been trying so hard. His face flickered with something. Guilt. Maybe. No. Couldn't be. Jason didn't feel guilt. Yeah, well, we all have to keep pushing, right? He checked his watch. The nice one. The Rolex I'd never seen before this morning. He must have kept it hidden. I should get ready. Need to look professional. He disappeared into the bedroom. I heard drawers opening. The closet door. He was getting dressed in clothes I'd never seen. Designer clothes he kept secret. I pulled out my phone, checked my secure wallet. $10,150,000. Still there? Still mine? Still the most beautiful number I'd ever seen. I opened a browser and searched for Amber's social media. Found her Instagram easily. It was public. Of course it was. Influencers need attention like normal people need oxygen. Her latest post was from an hour ago. A selfie in front of a mirror. Designer dress, red, Versace. The caption, lunch with someone special. Feeling blessed. The comments were full of her followers asking who the mystery man was. She responded to one, "A gentleman never tells, and neither does a lady." I scrolled through her feed. Pictures of expensive handbags, first-class plane tickets, hotel rooms with ocean views, champagne, caviar, all the things she claimed were from brand deals and sponsors. Every photo was a lie. Every caption was my money, my blood. My exhaustion turned into her lifestyle. There was a photo from 2 weeks ago. Her holding up a necklace. Diamond, platinum setting, $50,000 around her neck while I sold my grandmother's earrings for $200. The caption, "When he knows your worth." I wanted to throw my phone, wanted to scream, but I didn't, because I was better than that now, better than emotion, better than reaction. I was ice, I was calculation, I was the storm coming. Jason emerged from the bedroom looking like a different person, tailored suit, expensive shoes, hairstyled. He looked successful, rich, confident. He looked like the man I thought I'd married before he became a ghost on my couch. "How do I look?" he asked, adjusting his tie in the reflection of the toaster. "Like $1 million, I said. 10 million, actually, but not anymore. He grabbed his laptop bag, the expensive leather one I'd never seen before. "Wish me luck." "Good luck, honey. I hope you get everything you deserve." He kissed my forehead. His lips felt like ice. "Love you," he said. He'd never said that while looking me in the eyes. Always while leaving. Always as an afterthought. Always as part of the performance. "Love you too," I lied back. The door closed. I waited until I heard his footsteps fade down the hallway. Then I ran to the window and watched him get into a car parked on the street. A Porsche. Matte black. The one registered to the shell company. He drove away and I started laughing. Actually, laughing. The kind of laughter that comes from the edge of sanity or the clarity beyond it. I grabbed my phone and called in sick to all 3 of my jobs. Something I'd never done before. Not in 3 years. Not even when I had pneumonia. "I'm so sorry," I told each manager. "I think I have food poisoning. I'll be back tomorrow." They were understanding. I was reliable. I never called out. One sick day wouldn't hurt. But I wasn't sick. I was free. I took a shower. A long one. Hot water, using all of it. Not caring about the bill because I could pay it 1 million times over now. I washed my hair with actual shampoo instead of dollar store soap. I stood under the water until my skin turned pink and let 3 years of filth and exhaustion wash down the drain. When I got out, I looked at myself in the mirror. Really looked. I was thin. Too thin. My ribs showed. My collarbones jutted out. My face was gaunt. I had dark circles under my eyes that makeup couldn't hide anymore. I looked like I was dying. Slowly, deliberately. Because I was. Jason was killing me. Day by day. Hour by hour. And he was enjoying every moment of it. Not anymore. I got dressed, not in my work clothes, not in my stained shirts and worn jeans. I put on the one nice outfit I had left from before this bankruptcy. A simple black dress. It hung loose on my new body, but it was elegant, dignified. I did my makeup, red lipstick. The war paint of women throughout history. Then I grabbed Jason's secret phone, the one I'd found last night, the one he stupidly didn't password protect. I opened his conversation with Amber. Jason. On my way, baby. Making the transfer now and then, I'm all yours. Forever. Amber. I'm at Cipriani. Already ordered champagne. Hurry up. I'm wearing something special underneath this dress. Jason. 10 minutes. I'm pulling up to the parking garage. Going to use my laptop real quick, then I'll be right there. Sent 3 minutes ago. Perfect. I could imagine him right now, sitting in his Porsche in some parking garage, opening his laptop, loading his cryptocurrency wallet, getting ready to move his fortune to an untraceable offshore account. Opening the wallet, seeing the balance, 10 hours. I wish I could have seen his face, the exact moment, the exact second when his entire world imploded. My phone buzzed. I'd installed a tracking app on his secret phone last night. It showed me his location, a parking garage on 5th Avenue, 2 blocks from Cipriani. I grabbed my purse and headed out. I had one more stop to make before the real show began. I took the subway to Midtown, walked into a store I'd never been able to afford before. A phone store. The nice one where all the phones cost more than my monthly rent. I'd like your best phone, I told the sales associate. And a new number, completely new account. He showed me the latest model, over $1,000. Perfect, I said. I'll take it. He looked surprised. I was still dressed nicely, but my shoes were old. My purse was worn. I didn't look like someone who could afford this. Would you like to finance? Cash, I said. I'd stopped at an ATM on the way, withdrawn $2,000 from a temporary account I'd set up and linked to one of my new wallets. The ATM had looked at me suspiciously when I requested that much, like it couldn't believe someone like me had it. I paid. Watched his expression change from skepticism to respect. Money does that. Changes how people see you. Changes everything. I set up the new phone while walking to Cipriani, installed all the apps I needed, created new accounts, secured everything. Then I texted Amber from Jason's phone. Jason. Emergency. Need you to come to the apartment. Now. Can't explain by text. Please hurry. She responded immediately. Amber. What? I'm waiting for you. What's going on? Jason. Please, it's important. I'll explain everything. The apartment address is 487 Morrison Street, apartment 3B. I'm already on my way there. Amber. Jason, you're scaring me. Is everything okay? Jason. Just come, please. I need you. Amber. Fine, I'm leaving now. This better be good. I'm missing my champagne. I smiled. Deleted the messages from Jason's phone so he wouldn't see them when he finally looked at anything other than his empty wallet. Then I headed home. Back to our falling apart apartment. Back to the scene of 3 years of crime. Because Act 3 was about to begin. And I needed to be there when both of them arrived. When I got home, I rearranged the apartment slightly. Moved the nice chair so it faced the door. Put Jason's laptop on the coffee table. Open. Made coffee. Set out 3 mugs. Then I sat down, crossed my legs, put on my red lipstick again. And I waited. 15 minutes later, I heard his car screech into the parking lot. Heard him running up the stairs. 3 flights. He was out of breath by the time his key hit the lock. The door burst open. Jason stood there. His face was red. sweating. His eyes were wild, panicked. His perfect hair was a mess where he'd been pulling at it. "Lily!" he gasped. "Where's my laptop?" "My real laptop." "On the table?" I said calmly. "You left it this morning." He lunged for it, opened it. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely type his password. I watched him, sipped my coffee, said nothing. He opened his wallet application, stared at the screen. "No," he whispered. "No, no, 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 no." He refreshed it, checked the transaction history. I could see it all from where I sat. The single transaction, everything to a wallet address he didn't recognize, the memo, cleaning fee. "This isn't possible," he said. "This isn't fucking possible." He looked at me, really looked at me for the first time in years. And I smiled. "Problem, honey?" I asked. "You look upset." "Did you?" He stopped. He couldn't ask, couldn't accuse, because that would mean admitting what he had. "Did I what?" I asked innocently. He was breathing hard, thinking, calculating, trying to figure out if I knew, if I'd somehow done this. If it was a coincidence, a hack, anything but the truth. "My computer," he said finally. "Someone hacked my computer." "Oh no," I said with perfect concern. "Should we call the police?" His face went white. No police. I'll handle it." "Are you sure? If someone stole from you?" "They didn't steal anything," he was shouting now. I had some files backed up and they're gone. It's fine, it's nothing." "If you say so," I said. "You want some coffee? You look like you need it." He was pacing now, running his hands through his hair, muttering to himself, checking his phone, probably looking at his accounts, confirming that his entire fortune had vanished. "This can't be happening," he kept saying. "This can't be happening." I checked the time. Amber should be arriving any minute. "Jason," I said gently, "come sit down. Tell me what's wrong. Maybe I can help." He laughed. Actually laughed, bitter and broken. "You can't help, Lily. You don't understand anything about money or technology or—" The doorbell rang. Jason froze. "Are you expecting someone?" he asked. "No," I said. "Are you?" He looked at the door like it might explode. "I'm not. I don't—" The doorbell rang again, then knocking, impatient knocking. "Should I get it?" I asked, standing up. "No." He rushed to the door. "I'll get it. Just stay there." He opened the door, and there she was. Amber, in her red Versace dress, her $50,000 necklace, her designer heels, standing in the doorway of our falling-apart apartment building, looking confused and disgusted in equal measure. "Jason," she said. "What? What is this place?" Jason's mouth opened and closed like a fish. What are you doing here?" "You texted me," she held up her phone. "You said it was an emergency, that I needed to come here right away." He pulled out his phone, checked his messages. His face went from red to white to gray. "I didn't send that," he whispered. They both turned to look at me. I waved, smiled my sweetest smile. "Hi," I said. "You must be Amber. I'm Lily, Jason's wife. Please, come in. We have so much to talk about." The silence in that apartment was so thick you could choke on it. 3 people. 1 tiny room. And enough lies to fill an ocean. Amber stood in the doorway, 1 designer heel inside, 1 out, like she couldn't decide whether to run or stay. Her perfectly made-up face was cycling through emotions faster than I could name them. Confusion, anger, disgust, fear. Jason was frozen between us, his head turning from her to me to her, like he was watching a tennis match where the ball was his entire life. "Wife?" Amber said finally, her voice climbing an octave. "You said you were divorced." Jason started. "Not divorced," I interrupted pleasantly. "Very much married. 3 years, 2 months, and 16 days. But who's counting? Amber's eyes narrowed. She looked at me, really looked at me for the first time, taking in my too-thin frame, my cheap dress, my worn shoes, the apartment behind me with its peeling paint and broken-down furniture. I watched her do the math, watched her realize something was very, very wrong. "Jason," she said slowly, backing up a step, "what the fuck is going on? Baby, listen." He reached for her. She slapped his hand away. "Don't baby me. You said you lived in Manhattan, in a penthouse. You said your divorce was finalized last year? I can explain. Then explain." She was shouting now. "Explain why you have a wife. Explain why you live in this dump. Explain why everything you told me is apparently a fucking lie." Jason's eyes were darting around like a trapped animal, looking for an exit, looking for a story, looking for anything that could save him. "The penthouse is being renovated," he tried. "This is temporary. And the divorce, it's complicated. We're separated, but..." "We're not separated," I said cheerfully. "We sleep in the same bed every night. Well, I sleep on the couch when I'm too tired from working my 3 jobs to make it to the bedroom. But Jason sleeps very well. Don't you, honey?" Amber turned to stare at me. "3 jobs?" "Oh yes. I clean offices from 5 to 10 in the morning. Then I waitress at Morrison's Diner from 10 to 3. Then I stock shelves at the convenience store from 6 to midnight. Sometimes I do overnight shifts when we need extra money, which is always..." "You're lying," Amber said, but her voice was uncertain now. "Am I?" I walked to the kitchen counter and grabbed my work uniforms. The cleaning company shirt with Lily embroidered on it. The diner apron with grease stains that never came out. The convenience store vest. I have the wardrobe to prove it. I threw them on the coffee table, right next to Jason's laptop. Amber stared at them, then at Jason. "You told me you were a tech investor. You told me you made millions in cryptocurrency. You bought me a car. You bought me jewelry. You took me to Paris last month." "I did do all that," Jason said desperately. "I do have money. I do. There's just been a technical issue. A temporary..." "How temporary?" Amber's voice was ice now. "Because I quit my job 3 months ago when you said you'd take care of me. I gave up my apartment 2 weeks ago when you said we'd move to the Maldives. All my stuff is in storage. I have $17 in my bank account because you said I didn't need to worry about money anymore." Oh, this was even better than I'd imagined. Jason was sweating now. Actually sweating. Beads of it running down his temples. "I'll fix it," he said. "I just need a few days to..." "To what?" I asked, standing up. "To access the money that's gone, to recover the cryptocurrency that vanished, to explain to Amber how you can afford a $50,000 necklace but your wife has to sell her dead grandmother's jewelry to buy food." Jason's face went white, then red, then purple. "You," he whispered, pointing at me with a shaking finger. "You did this. You stole from me." "Stole?" I put my hand on my chest in mock surprise. "How can I steal something that doesn't exist? You told me 3 years ago that we lost everything, that we were broke, that we had nothing. Were you lying to me, Jason?" He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Because if you were lying," I continued, walking closer to him, "if you had money this whole time while I worked myself to the bone, while I went hungry, while I sold my possessions, while I destroyed my body and my health, well, that would be a very different kind of crime, wouldn't it?" Amber was backing toward the door now. "I don't want any part of this. This is insane. You two are insane." "Oh, don't leave yet," I said, turning to her. "This is just getting interesting. Jason, why don't you show Amber your cryptocurrency wallet, the one you've been using to fund her lifestyle?" "I don't have to show anyone anything," he growled. "No." I pulled out my new phone. "Then I will." I'd taken screenshots last night, lots of them. The wallet balance before, the transaction history, the messages with Amber, the emails with his lawyer, the receipts, all of it. I held up my phone, showed Amber the screenshot of Jason's wallet from last night, $10,350,000. Her eyes went wide. "This is Jason's cryptocurrency wallet from yesterday," I explained. $10,450,000. money he accumulated over the last 3 years while telling me we were bankrupt. I swiped to the next screenshot. The transaction history. Everything moving to my wallet. The cleaning fee memo. And this is his wallet this morning. $10. Amber looked at the phone, at Jason, at me. Her perfect influencer face was cracking. You had $10 million, she said to Jason, and now you have 10. It's a hack, Jason shouted. Someone hacked my wallet. I'm going to track them down and… Track them how? I asked. Are you going to report it to the police? File a complaint? Explain to them that someone stole your hidden cryptocurrency fortune that you never declared to the IRS? That you hid from your wife in a divorce you were planning? That you used to fund an affair? Jason lunged at me. Actually lunged, his hands reaching for my throat. I didn't move. He stopped himself inches away, his hands shaking in the air between us. You can't touch me, I said quietly, because the second you do, I call the police, and then everything comes out. The hidden money, the tax evasion, the affair, the shell companies, the offshore accounts, all of it. You have no proof, he hissed. I have all the proof. I held up his secret phone. This phone, your phone, the one with all your messages to Amber, all your financial records, all your plans, everything. His face went slack. Where did you get that? From your backpack. Last night, while you were sleeping. You really should password protect your devices, Jason. Basic security. He reached for the phone. I pulled it back. I've already backed everything up. Cloud storage, multiple locations. If anything happens to me, if I disappear, if I have an accident, everything gets sent automatically to the IRS, the FBI, and every news outlet in the city. It was a bluff, mostly, but he didn't know that. Jason collapsed onto the couch, put his head in his hands, started making a sound that might have been crying or laughing or both. Amber was at the door now. I'm leaving. This is fucked. You're both fucked. Wait, I said. Don't you want your stuff back? The necklace, the car, the designer clothes? Jason bought them with marital assets. Technically, half of them are mine. She touched the necklace at her throat. You're not taking this. I don't want it, I said. I just want you to know what it cost. That necklace, $50,000. That's 6 months of my salary combined from all 3 jobs. 6 months of scrubbing toilets and serving coffee and lifting boxes while Jason watched me suffer. And he put it around your neck while complimenting you on Instagram. Amber's hand dropped from the necklace like it had burned her. I didn't know, she whispered. Didn't you? I pulled out my phone again, showed her the screenshot of her own Instagram post, the one where she called me stupid for not knowing. You knew I existed. You knew I was working. You just didn't care. She looked at the screen, at her own words, at the evidence of her cruelty. He said you were separated, that you didn't love each other, that it was just paperwork. And you believed him? A man who lies to his wife every day, who hides millions of dollars, who plans to abandon both of us the second it's convenient? I laughed. You thought you were special. You thought you were different. You were just another transaction to him, another asset to manage. Amber looked at Jason. He was still on the couch, rocking back and forth, muttering to himself. Check your transaction history, I told her. Your bank account. See how much he actually gave you. Because I can tell you right now, everything he bought you, every gift, every dinner, every trip, it was pocket change to him. He spent more on his daily stock trades than he spent on you in a month. She pulled out her phone. Started scrolling. Her face kept changing as she read. The Versace dress, I continued. $8,000. That's 8% of 1% of what he had. The Porsche, $90,000. Less than 1%. The trip to Paris, $20,000 including the hotel. You thought you hit the jackpot. You thought you found a generous man. But he was just tipping you, like you were a servant, like I was. Amber's hands were shaking now. He said he loved me. He loved your Instagram followers. He loved how you made him look. He loved having a woman who didn't ask questions. But love you. Jason doesn't love anyone but himself. She looked at Jason again. He still hadn't moved, hadn't defended himself, hadn't said a word. You're pathetic, she said to him. Both of you. This whole situation is pathetic. She turned and walked out, her heels clicking down the hallway, getting quieter, then gone. The door was still open. Jason and I sat in silence, him on the couch, me in the chair, the morning light coming through the dirty windows. You destroyed me, he said finally. His voice was empty, hollow. No, I said. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped letting you destroy me too. He looked up at me. His eyes were red. That money was mine. I earned it. With what? You haven't worked in 3 years. I traded. I invested. I studied the markets. I made smart choices. With whose money, Jason? With the money from your startup? The money you told me we lost, that was investor money. That was partnership money. Money that legally belonged to other people. You stole it, didn't you? When the startup failed, you just transferred everything to your personal accounts and pretended it was gone. His silence was confirmation. So you're not just a liar and a cheat, I continued. You're also a thief. You embezzled from your own company, from your partners, from people who trusted you, and then you used that stolen money to make more money while your wife lived in poverty. I was going to pay them back, he mumbled. Eventually, once I made enough. When, Jason, after you left me, after you moved to the Maldives, after you started your new life with Amber? I stood up, walked to where he sat, looked down at him. You were never going to pay anyone back. You were going to disappear, and you were going to let me take the fall. He looked up at me with something like fear in his eyes. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? I smiled. I'm going to do what you should have done 3 years ago. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to make things right. You're going to give the money back. Oh no, the money is mine now. Marital assets, remember? We're still married. What's yours is mine. What's mine is mine. That's how this works. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself more coffee. But I am going to make some calls. Some anonymous calls. To your former business partners, to the authorities, to anyone who might be interested in knowing about a certain embezzler who's been hiding stolen money for 3 years. You can't do that. If I go down, you go down. You're my wife. You'll be implicated. Will I? I leaned against the counter. Because according to all the evidence, I knew nothing about this money. I've been working 3 jobs to survive. I have pay stubs, time cards, bank statements showing a woman living paycheck to paycheck. I have witnesses at every job who can testify to my exhaustion, my poverty, my dedication. What do you have? A secret phone, hidden accounts, mistresses, a paper trail of deception. His face crumbled. Lily, please, we can work this out. We can split the money. 50-50. You never have to work again. We can both disappear. Start over. Start over. I set my coffee down. Start over as what? Partners in crime? You think I want anything from you except distance? The money? The money is gone, Jason. It's not in your accounts, it's not in your wallets, it's not anywhere you can reach it. It's in a place where only I can access it. And I've made sure that if anything happens to me, it all gets donated to charity. Every single dollar. To organizations that help abused women. Women like me. Women you created. He started crying then. Real crying. Ugly, desperate, terrified crying. Please, he sobbed. Please, Lily. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was stupid. I'll do anything. Please don't do this. I watched him cry. Watched this man who'd made me beg for grocery money. Who'd made me feel worthless. Who'd stolen years of my life. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, no anger, nothing, just the cold, clear knowledge that I was free. "I want a divorce," I said. "I'm filing today. You're going to sign whatever papers I give you. You're not going to fight me. You're not going to ask for anything. Because if you do, everything I know becomes public. Everything. Do you understand?" He nodded, still crying. "Good. You have until tonight to get your things and leave. This apartment is in my name. The lease is mine. You're going to leave and you're going to disappear from my life. Forever." "Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't care. Go to your parents. Go to a friend. Go to hell. Just go." I walked to the door, grabbed my purse. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Out," I said. "To file for divorce, to close our joint bank account, to start my life over, without you." "But, oh, and Jason, that laptop, the one you're sitting next to?" "You might want to check your browser history, because I may have visited a few websites last night. From your computer. Sites that might get you on some very interesting government watch lists. So if I were you, I'd be very careful about how much attention you draw to yourself in the coming months." It was another bluff, mostly, but the look on his face made it worth it. I walked out, left the door open behind me, left him sitting in our destroyed apartment with his destroyed life. I took the stairs down, walked out into the bright morning. The sun was shining, birds were singing. The world looked exactly the same as it had yesterday. But I was different. I wasn't Lily the victim anymore. Lily the fool. Lily the woman who worked herself to death for a man who saw her as a servant. I was Lily the survivor. Lily the woman who fought back. Lily the woman who took control. And I was just getting started, because Jason wasn't the only one who needed to learn a lesson. The world needed to see what happened when you underestimated a woman with nothing left to lose. I didn't go straight to a lawyer. I had something else to do first. I took the subway to Fifth Avenue, walked into Cartier, the same store where Jason bought Amber's necklace, the place where $50,000 was just another Tuesday. The security guard looked at me skeptically. My dress was nice, but my shoes were cheap. I didn't belong here. We both knew it. "Can I help you?" A saleswoman approached, her smile professional but cold. "I'm looking for someone who sold a diamond necklace last week. Platinum setting, $50,000. Her expression changed. Numbers like that got attention. "Let me get a manager." 5 minutes later, I was sitting in a private consultation room with a man named Laurent. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. Expensive cologne. "You mentioned a specific purchase," he said carefully. I showed him the receipt on my phone. "This one. My husband bought it for his mistress. I'd like to return it." Laurent's eyebrows rose slightly. "I see. Do you have the piece with you?" "Not yet, but I know where it is. I have a question first. When my husband made this purchase, did he use a credit card or cash?" "I'm not sure I can disclose. I'm his wife." "We're in the middle of a divorce. This was a marital asset purchased without my knowledge or consent. I can get a subpoena if needed, but I thought we might handle this more discreetly." Laurent studied me, calculating, deciding. He used a business account, cash equivalent, cryptocurrency converted to USD through one of our approved processors. Cryptocurrency. I smiled. Of course he did. And I'm guessing he didn't provide a tax identification number for a purchase that large. Laurent's silence was answer enough. "Thank you," I said, standing. "You've been very helpful." "Oh, and you might want to review your records from the last 3 years. Any purchases made by Jason Chen. I suspect the IRS will be asking about them soon." I left Cartier and walked to a coffee shop, the expensive kind where a latte costs $8. I ordered one. Paid cash from my ATM withdrawal. It tasted like victory. I found a table by the window and made my first call. To Jason's former business partner, Michael Torres. I'd found his number last night in Jason's emails. "Hello? Mr. Torres? You don't know me. My name is Lily Chen. I'm Jason Chen's wife." Silence. Then, "Jason's wife? I thought he was divorced, dead, disappeared." "No, very much married." And I have some information you might be interested in regarding the money that vanished when his startup failed 3 years ago. I'm listening. I told him everything. The cryptocurrency wallets, the hidden accounts, the lifestyle, the affair, all of it. When I finished, there was a long pause. "Can you prove this?" he asked. "I can provide evidence that will lead investigators in the right direction. Screenshots, account numbers, transaction histories. Enough to start an audit. Why are you telling me this?" "Because what he did to you, he did to me. He's a thief and a liar, and I want him to face consequences." "Where's the money now?" "Safe, secure. And it will stay that way until proper authorities determine who it legally belongs to. But I can tell you this: Jason won't be seeing a penny of it." Michael Torres laughed. Actually laughed. "Mrs. Chen, I think we should meet. My lawyers would like to talk to you." "I'd like that. But first, I need to take care of something else." I hung up and made my second call. To the IRS fraud hotline. "I'd like to report tax evasion and unreported income." The woman on the other end was all business. Name of the individual: Jason Chen. I can provide documentation of over $10 million in unreported cryptocurrency gains over the last 3 years. Keys clicking. "And your relationship to Mr. Chen?" "I'm his wife, and I have access to all his financial records." "I see. Ma'am, you understand that as his spouse, you may also be liable." "I understand, but I've been working 3 minimum wage jobs for 3 years while he hid this money. I have documented proof of my income and expenses. I knew nothing about these accounts until yesterday. We'll need to verify everything." "I understand. I'm prepared to cooperate fully." I gave them all the information. Account numbers, wallet addresses, transaction histories, everything. When I hung up, I felt lighter, cleaner, like I'd been carrying poison and finally spit it out. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "This is Amber. We need to talk." I stared at it for a moment, considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. "Talk about what?" "About Jason, about everything. I'm at the Starbucks on 47th. Can you meet me?" I checked the address, 2 blocks away. "Give me 10 minutes." I found her in the corner. She'd changed clothes, jeans and a t-shirt now. The necklace was gone. She looked smaller somehow, less polished, more real. "Thanks for coming," she said when I sat down. "I'm surprised you want to see me." "I'm surprised I want to see you too." She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "I've been thinking about what you said, about me being a transaction, about the money. And you were right. I went through everything, every gift, every payment, every trip. I added it up. You know how much he spent on me in a year?" "Tell me." $237,000. It sounds like a lot. It felt like a lot. But compared to 10 million, it's nothing. I was cheap entertainment. You were a prop. Something to show off. Something to make him feel powerful. She nodded. "I quit my job for him, my real job. I was a graphic designer. I was good at it. But he said I didn't need to work, that he'd take care of everything, that I could focus on being an influencer, on being happy." She laughed bitterly. "I gave up my career for a lie." "So what are you going to do?" "I don't know. My apartment is gone. My job is gone. My savings are gone. I'm staying with a friend right now, sleeping on her couch. I have nothing." Part of me wanted to feel sorry for her, but I couldn't quite get there. "You had a choice," I said. "Every day, you had a choice. To ask questions, to wonder where the money came from, to think about the wife he claimed to be divorced from." "I know." Her eyes filled with tears. "I know, okay? I fucked up. I was greedy and stupid, and I believed what I wanted to believe because it was easier than facing reality." "At least you can admit it? Does that make it better?" "No, but it's a start." We sat in silence for a moment. "Can I ask you something?" Amber said. "Go ahead." "Why didn't you just take the money and run? Why go through all this? The revenge, the exposure, all of it. You could have just disappeared. I thought about that. Because running would mean he won. He'd get to be the victim, the man whose wife stole his money. He'd learn nothing, change nothing. He'd just find another woman to use, another scheme to run. This way, he faces consequences. This way, everyone knows what he is. But you lose too. The investigation, the divorce, all of it, it's going to be messy. I've been living in mess for 3 years. At least now it's mess with a purpose. Amber wiped her eyes. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I should have known better. I should have been better. Yeah, you should have. Are you going to press charges against me? I mean, for accepting stolen property or whatever. I hadn't thought about that. Could I? Should I? No, I said finally. You didn't steal anything. You were just stupid enough to accept gifts from a thief. That's not illegal, just pathetic. She flinched but nodded. That's fair. But that necklace, the car, anything he bought you with that money, you're going to want to return it, or sell it, before investigators come asking. Because when this all comes out, and it will come out, anything connected to Jason is going to be evidence. Her hand went to her throat where the necklace had been. I already sold it, this morning, got $30,000 for it. I know it's not what he paid, but I needed money for rent. Smart. What about you? She asked. What are you going to do now? I'm going to rebuild my life. The right way this time. No more working myself to death. No more accepting scraps. No more pretending that love means sacrifice. And the money? The money is going to do what money should do. Take care of people. Help people. Make the world a little less terrible. You're going to give it away? Most of it. After the lawyers and investigators and everyone else takes their piece. After I make sure Jason's victims get compensated. After I set myself up properly. Whatever's left goes to people who actually need it. Amber stared at me. You're serious? Completely. That's either the most noble thing I've ever heard or the most insane. Maybe it's both. My phone rang. Unknown number again. Excuse me? I said, answering it. Hello? Mrs. Chen, this is Detective Sarah Morrison with the Financial Crimes Unit. We received your information from the IRS. We need to schedule an interview. Of course. When? Today, if possible. This is a time-sensitive matter. I can be at your office in an hour. Perfect. And Mrs. Chen, you should bring a lawyer. Already planned. I hung up and looked at Amber. I have to go. The police want to talk. Good luck, she said. For what it's worth, I hope you destroy him. I already did. Everything else is just paperwork. I stood to leave, then paused. Amber, one more thing. Yeah? Get your job back. Or find a new one. Stop waiting for someone to take care of you. Take care of yourself. That's the only way you'll ever really be free. She nodded slowly. Maybe you're right. I am right. I learned it the hard way. You don't have to. I left her there and headed to the subway. I had a lawyer to hire and a detective to meet. But first, I had one more stop to make. I went back to the apartment. Jason's car was gone. Most of his clothes, too. He'd left like I told him to. Good. I walked through the empty rooms. 3 years of my life in this space. 3 years of suffering, but also 3 years of survival. 3 years of learning exactly how strong I could be. I sat on the couch, the same couch where Jason used to sit while I worked, and I let myself cry. Not sad tears. Not angry tears. Release tears. The kind that come when you finally let go of something heavy. When I was done, I washed my face, fixed my makeup, and left, locked the door behind me, started walking toward my future, whatever that would be. 6 months later, everything had changed. The detective interview led to a full investigation. Jason's embezzlement, his tax evasion, his shell companies, all of it unraveled like a cheap sweater pulled at the wrong thread. His former business partners got most of their money back. Not all, but enough. Michael Torres actually thanked me. Sent me a bottle of champagne I never opened. Said I had more integrity than anyone he'd met in business. I didn't feel particularly integrous. I just felt tired of lies. The IRS took their share. Penalties and interest on 3 years of hidden income. Jason owed them millions, money he didn't have anymore. Money that was now safely distributed across accounts he'd never find. The divorce was finalized in 4 months. Quickest divorce in the history of broken marriages. Jason signed everything without reading it. He had no choice. Fighting me meant exposing himself further, meant admitting to crimes he was desperately trying to pretend never happened. He got nothing, not the apartment, not the furniture, not even his precious laptop. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he moved back in with his parents in Ohio, that he was working at a call center, that he'd gained 40 pounds and lost most of his hair from stress. I felt nothing hearing that, not satisfaction, not pity, nothing. He was irrelevant to me now, a chapter that ended, a lesson learned, nothing more. As for me, I did something I never thought I'd do. I left America, packed 2 suitcases, bought a one-way ticket to Portugal, Lisbon, specifically, a city I'd never been to but always wanted to see. I rented an apartment overlooking the Tagus River. Not a mansion, not a penthouse. Just a simple, beautiful place with big windows and good light, a place that felt like home the moment I walked in. I didn't work for the first month. Couldn't bring myself to just walk the streets. Ate pastéis de nata at corner bakeries. Learned Portuguese badly. Slept 10 hours a night. Let my body remember what rest felt like. By the 2nd month, I started feeling restless. Not the bad kind. The good kind. The kind that means you're ready to build something. I used some of the money to start a foundation. Small at first. Focused on helping women escape financial abuse. Women trapped like I was. Women who needed a way out but didn't have the resources. We paid for divorce lawyers. Security deposits on apartments. Job training. Childcare. Whatever they needed to leave and start over. The first woman we helped was 34. 3 kids. Husband who controlled every penny. She'd been planning her escape for 2 years but couldn't save enough to leave. We gave her $15,000. First month's rent, deposit, moving costs, and emergency fund. She cried on the phone when I told her, "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "You don't even know me." "Because someone should have done it for me," I said. "And no one did, so I'm doing it for you instead." By month 3, we'd helped 12 women. By month 6, 47. The money was going fast, but it was going to the right places. Every dollar that Jason hoarded while I suffered was now freeing someone else from their suffering. That felt right. That felt like justice. I also did something else. Something I wasn't proud of but didn't regret. I wrote everything down. The whole story. Every detail. Every lie. Every moment of manipulation. And I published it. Not under my real name. Under a pseudonym. The Wife Who Knew Nothing. By anonymous, it became a book, then an article, then a viral story that spread across social media like wildfire. People were furious. At Jason. At men like Jason. At the system that enables men like Jason. But some people were furious at me too. "Why did you take the money?" they asked. "Why didn't you just leave?" "You're just as bad as him," they said. "Theft is theft. 2 wrongs don't make a right," they lectured. I didn't respond, didn't defend myself, didn't explain, because the truth was they were right. In a way, what I did wasn't legal. Taking that money, even if it was marital assets, even if he'd stolen it first, even if I was owed it morally. Technically, I'd committed a crime, but I didn't care. Because the law didn't protect me. The law didn't help me when I was working myself to death. The law didn't stop Jason from hiding millions while I went hungry. The law was designed to protect people like Jason, people with money and lawyers and the knowledge to hide assets. So I stopped trusting the law, started trusting myself instead. And if that made me a criminal, fine. I'd rather be a criminal who helped 47 women escape abuse than a victim who followed the rules and stayed trapped. One day, about 5 months in, I got an email from Amber. Subject line, "Thank you." I almost deleted it. Almost. But curiosity won again. "Lily, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness or even your attention, but I wanted you to know that I got my job back. Different company, better pay. I'm rebuilding my portfolio. Starting over the right way. I also started volunteering with an organization that helps young women avoid predatory relationships, teaching them red flags, warning signs, things I wish someone had taught me. I think about you sometimes, about what you did, how you fought back, how you didn't just survive, but won. I'm trying to be more like that, stronger, smarter, less willing to accept scraps and call them love. Anyway, I don't expect a response. I just wanted you to know that what you did changed my life too, not just Jason's. Mine. You showed me what real strength looks like. Thank you. Amber. I read it 3 times. Then I wrote back. Amber, good luck with everything. Don't volunteer to help others as penance for your mistakes. Do it because you genuinely want to help. There's a difference. One heals you. One just makes you feel less guilty. Figure out which one you're doing. Lily. I never heard from her again. I hope she figured it out. The last piece of the story happened 2 weeks ago. I was at a cafe in Alfama, writing in my journal, trying to capture how it felt to be free. Really free. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. A woman sat down at the table next to mine, American accent. She was crying, trying to hide it, but failing. Excuse me, I said. Are you okay? She looked up. Red eyes, exhausted face. The face I used to see in my mirror. I'm fine, she said automatically. Then, no, I'm not fine. I'm the opposite of fine. Do you want to talk about it? She hesitated. Then, my husband? He controls everything. The money, the accounts, everything. I want to leave, but I have nothing. No savings, no job, nowhere to go. My heart stopped, then started again, faster. What's your name? I asked. Rebecca. Rebecca, I run a foundation. We help women in exactly your situation. Can I give you some information? Her eyes widened. You're serious. Completely serious. I wrote down the foundation's contact information, gave her my email, told her to reach out anytime. Why are you doing this? She asked. Same question the first woman asked. Because 3 years ago, I was you, and I had to save myself. But you don't have to. Let us help. She started crying harder, relief crying. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you. I watched her leave, watched her walk down those Lisbon streets with something she didn't have before. Hope. That night, I stood on my balcony, looked out at the river, at the lights reflecting on the water, at the city that had become my refuge. I thought about Jason, wondered if he ever thought about me, if he ever realized what he'd lost. Not the money. That was just numbers on a screen. But me. The woman who'd loved him, who'd sacrificed for him, who'd believed in him even when he'd given her every reason not to. I thought about who I used to be. Lily the exhausted. Lily the victim. Lily, the woman who made herself small to make room for someone else's ego. And I thought about who I was now. Lily the survivor. Lily the fighter. Lily the woman who burned her old life down and built a new one from the ashes. I didn't miss the old Lily. Didn't mourn her. She served her purpose. She endured what needed to be endured. She learned what needed to be learned. But she had to die for this Lily to be born. The one who knew her worth. Who demanded respect. Who understood that love should never cost you your dignity. My phone buzzed. Email from the foundation, another woman asking for help, another Rebecca, another me. I smiled, went inside, started typing a response, because this was my purpose now. This was what Jason's greed had built, without meaning to, an army of women helping women, a network of survivors who refused to let anyone else suffer alone. He tried to make me small, to keep me poor and powerless and dependent. Instead, he'd taught me exactly how strong I could be, how far I could go, what I was capable of when pushed to the edge. He'd created his own worst nightmare, a woman with nothing to lose and the means to fight back. And now that woman was multiplying. helping others become their own worst nightmares to the men who tried to break them. I finished the email. Hit send. Poured myself a glass of wine. Portuguese wine. The cheap kind, because expensive wine didn't taste better. It just cost more. I'd learned that lesson too. I raised my glass to the empty apartment, to the life I'd left behind, to the man who'd thought he could use me forever. Thank you, Jason, I said out loud, for teaching me exactly who not to be, for showing me what real evil looks like, for giving me a villain origin story worth telling. I drank. The wine was perfect. Tomorrow, I'd help another woman escape. Next week, another. Next month, 10 more. I'd use every dollar of Jason's stolen fortune to undo the damage men like him caused. I'd turn his greed into generosity, his cruelty into kindness, his abuse into liberation. That was my revenge. Not the money, not the exposure, not his downfall. My revenge was becoming everything he never wanted me to be. Free, powerful, unbreakable, and helping other women do the same. He'd wanted a servant, a victim, a woman who'd clean his floors and accept her fate. Instead, he got a revolution, one woman at a time, one story at a time, one escape at a time. I finished my wine, looked out at the Lisbon night, at the city that didn't know my history, didn't care about my past, a city that let me be whoever I wanted to be, and I chose to be free. Finally, completely, irreversibly free. That was the end of the story. The end of Lily who scrubbed floors, the beginning of Lily who changed lives. And if Jason ever wondered what happened to his money, to his wife, to his carefully constructed lies, I hope he remembered this. I told him I was making coffee while he slept peacefully, planning his escape. I told him I was sewing his jacket, being the good wife, taking care of him one last time. I told him I was too tired, too stupid, too broken to notice his secret life. But I'd been watching, learning, planning, waiting for the exact right moment to take everything. He watched me scrub floors to pay our rent. He watched me sell my grandmother's jewelry. He watched me destroy my body while he counted his millions. And I watched him back, memorized every lie, documented every crime, prepared for the day I'd stop being his victim. That day I found his $10 million wallet. That wasn't discovery. That was destiny. Some people call what I did theft. Others call it justice. I call it survival. And I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. Because the only thing better than escaping a cage is helping others find the key to theirs. That's my story. That's my truth. I was the wife who knew nothing, until I knew everything. And then I became the woman who changed everything. He kept a fortune in the cloud while leaving me in the dirt. Now, the only cloud he sees is the dust I left behind as I disappeared into my new life. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. I disagree. Revenge is best served systematically, legally documented, and with enough evidence to ensure the villain can never claim victim status. I didn't just take his money. I took his power, his control, his ability to hurt anyone else the way he hurt me. And I used it all to make sure no other woman has to choose between staying in hell or starving on the streets. That's not revenge, that's revolution. One woman, one wallet, one 12-word seed phrase, and 10 million reasons why you should never underestimate someone with nothing left to lose.